Welcome back to the X Factor podcast with our guest today, one that I'm very excited about. This is Xan Marcucci, who is a phenomenal female entrepreneur here in Utah. And I'm really grateful that we were connected. We've had some time to talk beforehand. I'm really excited for what this little episode has to offer. So thank you, Xan.
No, thanks for having me.
So first things first, because this is like, if you could just give like kind of a roadmap to people that are watching, what have you done throughout your life? Kind of rewind back to, getting started in your career and like what has happened from then till now.
Sure. So when I graduated from college, I immediately went to Adobe. That's where I started working. I was in marketing actually for a couple of years.
Awesome.
Decided I really disliked my job day to day and took a leap into sales, which ultimately was the best choice I've made for my career, was taking a risk, making a leap.
Good.
And leaning into what I felt like were my strengths. So competitiveness, my empathy, and my love of listening, of talking with people. That felt like sales would be the right spot for that. So I took, I think it was like a $12K pay cut. Made the jump to sales, which at the time, newlywed, I was like, $12K.
Yeah, you're like, that's a lot.
This is a big deal.
Yeah.
But made the jump, and I loved it. It was the right move for me. I was promoted within 8 months from BDR to AE, which hadn't been done at Adobe before. I had time as an account executive. I did some sales strategy work there. So the first 6 years of my career were at Adobe. After that, I went to a couple different startups. At one, I was a sales manager. I got to build a team, teach them how to do contracting and enterprise sales.
Cool.
It was awesome. I loved leading a team. That was where I found a lot of joy and fulfillment, was helping develop other reps.
Yeah.
And then I took a role as a VP of sales at a small startup, which ultimately ended up failing. And at that point in time, I had this choice to make. I was given a $500K offer from another tech company to go be a VP of sales again. And I recognized that it was going to take 80-hour weeks, tons of travel, and just another big commitment. And ultimately, I decided that it was time to take another leap of faith, and to pivot my career. So I started my own recruiting agency, and all I do now is help tech companies hire salespeople, from SDRs to CROs. And
that is awesome.
So it's been, I think nothing about my career has been very linear.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of jumps and gambles, and I'm really grateful for it now.
It sounds like it, because in both those instances, you're like, I took a leap. It was like, one, I'm sure turning down a $500K offer, like that's a leap. Like just to be like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm going to go do my own thing instead.
Yeah. Where I know I'm not going to make that kind of money.
They take the risk, less money. I don't know if that's the right fit. So like, what have you learned through that process over the last, it's been a year and a half, you said, that you've been doing your own thing.
Yeah.
What have you kind of learned through that process?
As an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Wow. So many things. I think what's kind of interesting about where I'm at today, because if you asked me this 6 months ago, I think it would have been a different answer. But I originally created this role to center my work around my values, which was spending time with my family, having flexibility, and leaning into the stuff that I love doing, right? Which was like selling and developing people. That's always been my favorite thing. And so that's why I created it, was to have this flexibility. And that first summer, I worked 3 days a week and spent 2 days with my kids. And that's the first time I've ever had a summer with my kids. Like, I'd never done that before. It was amazing. I was really diligent about like blocking off that time. But as my business grew, it's kind of like a goldfish, right? If you have a bigger tank, you're going to fill it.
Yeah.
And so I started filling those 40, 60, 80 hours again, which is the whole point. Why I created this was to not do that, to have more flexibility. So the last couple of months have been recentering as we're growing, we're scaling, we're doing really well. I've got a bigger team now.
Yeah.
But it's just learning to like re-pivot and center my life around my true values. And as I do that, it's crazy like how success is almost amplified, compounded, just because I'm focusing on the things that I love again.
Yeah, that's you, like keeping your priorities where they need to be at. And like none of us are perfect at it, but like refocusing, as you said, like getting back to like, hey, it's going to happen. You're going to get out of alignment a little bit, but the key is in like that refocus of like, just course correct, like get back to those main values, those main, the things that you hold closest to you as most important. So that's awesome. We have a ton of females at our company here at Lease End, and there's two things that I love about Lease End. One is that very family focused, and I love that. Two, we've got a phenomenal women that work for us. And so like before we talked about or like had this conversation, I actually sent out a message to a ton of the females and said, hey, what questions would you have for Xan if you had any of them?
Awesome. Yeah.
And I would love throughout this conversation, I'd love to ask a few of those. But one in particular that was interesting was about the balance between personal life and your professional life and being able to like find the successes in both of those. And so like, what have you been able to do other than like just like blocking out the time? Like, what have you been able to do to find success personally, as a mom, but then also professionally as an entrepreneur?
Good question. I want to ask you the same question from when you were an entrepreneur and see how you managed to do that.
Absolutely.
I would say one is recognizing that there's times and seasons to life. There are some times when, like you said, we fluctuate, right? Needs are different at different times. When I'm 25 weeks pregnant right now. And so thank you. But I have like adjusted needs for today, and I'm okay with taking those. Even though that means maybe someday during the week, I'm like, I have to take a nap. I'm so tired, I have to take a nap. And that's a silly example. And someone else might be like, you're napping during the job. She's lazy. But your needs adjust based on like what your body and family needs. And sometimes you can push incredibly hard. I love working. I love working 80-hour weeks. Like there's a pull to that for me. I like building. I like creating. I like success. And sometimes I have to be willing to sacrifice some of that for the other things that matter more, and vice versa. And I'm really lucky to have a partner who's willing to fluctuate with me and fill in the gaps when I can't. When I took that VP of sales role at a startup, the one that ended up failing, my husband stepped in and he wasn't working during that time, and drew that out so that he could fill some more of the gaps at home. And I did the same early on in our careers when he needed a little bit more boost to do his own entrepreneurial thing. So I think one is times and seasons, right? And being okay with that, different phases of life. Number two is outsourcing and delegating what you can. If there's things that you love about your work, about parenthood, about running a household, do the things you love and outsource what you can. There's no need for you to do every single thing, even if you're responsible for it. Just make sure someone else can do that. So that could be as simple as, hiring a housekeeper to come once a week and saying that's worth it. The cost is worth it for me so that I can invest more of my time in other areas that I love. Or it can be, for me, it was hiring a full-time recruiter and saying, I can't afford to do all of the recruiting myself anymore. I love the sales aspect. I want to lean into what I love. And so I'm going to hire a recruiter to take some of those things off of my plate. And like being able to double down on the stuff I love and that I'm good at really compounds what you're able to succeed in.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. I like it. So those two things right there, because I think those are two things that whether you're an entrepreneur or not, like just take employees, for instance, like that is
absolutely.
You can still apply both of those. That it's like, hey, you're going to have energy given at work and you're going to come and you're going to pour your heart into what you do. At least I hope you do, right? Like we should love what we do at work, but then like being able to like do things in the right way so that you can go home and pour your heart into what matters at home as well. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Well, and is there a tool? Is there are there other things you can invest in as an individual contributor at a company that will make your job easier? Like project stack and can you outsource certain projects? Say no to certain things of like, hey, I'm not going to take that on because I don't have time. Like these are my boundaries. Set those boundaries for yourself and be okay with that. You don't have to do everything. And I think that a lot of women, at least I can speak for myself. I want to please. I want other people. I want to help other people. I want to be the person you can count on, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes learning to draw those boundaries is a little bit harder.
That's fantastic.
What have you done? When you were both provider and dad as an entrepreneur?
Dude, here's the thing. It literally comes back to my wife. I kid you not. Like,
Yeah.
so as you were talking there, I'm like, what was the thing that helped me? Literally just my wife. Like, a partner that holds you accountable and that you're extremely clear with on what your goals are and you both are aligned to that.
Sure.
That was really important for me. So like, I'm a workaholic. I will work day and night, and I will love it, and I will be happy,
fun.
and we'll go. Yes,
Yeah.
And I will lose sight of it, right? But my wife, being able to like when I had my own company, being really clear with her on what goals we had, and like, hey, this is the purpose of me building this. This is why we're doing it. This is why, and so setting some of those goals, and then she's really good. Like, I'm horrible at delegating. I'm horrible at people pleasing. You talk about that, like. Those are things that don't come natural to me. And so for her to be there to like kind of as an accountability that it's like, hey, Trev, you've been downstairs for a while. Like, why don't you come poke up for lunch or like what's going on here? Right. That was so helpful for me. Like so helpful. And then the other side to me was like, I don't love the idea of being somebody different at work than you are at home. I love the cohesion of the two. And so it's like, my son, I want him to see me love what I do. I want my son to see me work hard. I want him to enjoy that. Cause like, I hope that that's something that like serves him really well in his life when he gets older. And so like involving him in that stuff was really fun. Like sharing some of the things that I enjoyed, every night him and I sit down and I'll ask him, as he's going to bed, it's like, hey, what's one thing that you learned today? And like, it's fun to like share something to him that like, he probably has no idea what it means. Cause we're talking about work. Right. But I'm like, hey, at some point, like it'll mean something, I hope. Yeah. Right. But like just having those conversations and understanding that like, hey, like, I want these two to be, it's not like you win at one and you lose at the other. It's you win at both, and that you can have cohesion in both of them. You don't need to just sacrifice one to gain the other.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
No, 100%. My daughter's 4, and I recently asked her what she wants to do when she grows up. And she said that she wants to make confetti. My recruiting agency is called Confetti Recruiting. And she believes that I make confetti cannons as like my job. Like I manufacture confetti.
Yeah.
So she's like, I want to make confetti and I want to make candy, which is what her dad does.
Okay.
He works in like candy and ice cream.
No way.
Which like every girl's dream, right?
Yes.
So she's like, that's what I want to do, and also I want to be a unicorn. And I was like, those are all awesome. I love all of those. Yeah. But I like that she sees us do what we love and is involved in it. She knows what it is, and I don't know. I don't know that I thought of that when I was a kid.
Yeah. It's amazing though to look back and see some of the things that have happened to us throughout our lives that have impacted us to allow us to find certain things as valuable to us, right? Like, I am interested actually to dig into this when you talk about like character and you talk about integrity. Every time, Xan, you talk about that, you light up. Like every time you talk about like finding people with integrity, all these things. And I'm curious, like if you rewind, like where did you grow that belief? Because something like throughout your childhood, I don't know if your parents just instilled like integrity is so important or what, but like it feels like something is that's so important to you for some reason. Do you have any idea as to why that's such an important thing to you?
I think my parents just raised us. I'm the oldest of 5, so there's a big crew. And they raised us with high expectations on our moral character. At the end of the day, it's like, yes, it was important to get good grades. Yes, it was important to be excellent in what I did. But I don't think they really had to push on those places very much. Where they pushed and emphasized their parenting was on who are you becoming? Who are you as a human being? And like when I got in trouble, it was because I wasn't being honest about something, not necessarily because of what I did. It's the fact that I lied about it, right? Yeah. And I think they just instilled that really early on. And then as an adult, I remember when I was hiring for the first time as a sales manager, we don't give frontline managers training on how to interview, on how to hire, which is crazy. Yeah. But because no one trained me on it, I was just like, yeah, this must be easy because
it's just what you do.
It's just what you do. Yeah. Right. And I made some critical mistakes hiring early on that ultimately you live with that impact. If you're a manager and you're managing a team and you've made the wrong hire, like that is a daily burden.
You feel it every day.
No, you feel it every day, right? And so it was really conversations with my dad at that point, who does sales training and leadership development, where I was like, Dad, I need help figuring out, like, how do I hire? And he was like, look, there's some things you can train. There's a lot of things you can train. The stuff you can't train and you have to hire for is character. So how do you do that? What are like the 3 things to you that are absolutely critical that someone has to come with? And I'd ask you, like, when you're hiring, what do you look for as character attributes where you're like, I can't train it, they got to come with it?
That's such a good question. Work ethic is a big one.
Work ethic? Work
ethic. Like, it's like you've got that drive to work hard at something.
Yeah.
And I think these are 2 different things. There's work ethic, and then I think grit is another one that I love.
Sure.
Like
resilience.
Yeah, resilience. And maybe I mix the 2 a little bit, but it's like this gritty, like resourcefulness, right? Like
scrappy.
Yeah, scrappy. Like it's like that ability to just get resourceful. That it's like as soon as things don't go exactly the way that you would have anticipated, or you just thrown in the towel and like, well, I tried and I'm good, or are we like,
sure,
or are you like digging deeper to figure out like, hey, let's figure out how to get this done. Let's get it from a different angle. Like, those are probably 3. Those are probably the 3 that I would say would be the most low-hanging fruit for me personally.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What would you add to that list?
So I describe them as these 3 untrainables, right? So number 1 is integrity. If you don't have integrity, I can't train it. I can't teach it. You got to just have it.
Yeah.
Number 2 is coachability. So willingness to take feedback. Humility.
That's a fantastic one.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. And if you hire someone who doesn't have that coachability piece, you're like, I can't train you anything anyways. All of the stuff that is trainable, you're not going to take it in because you don't want it.
Yeah.
And number 3 is fire in the belly, which that's what my dad has always called it. And that kind of encompasses everything you just said about like that grit, that proactivity, the willingness to do whatever it takes to hit your
fire
goals.
In the belly.
Dude, I love that. Yeah. Yes. So those are kind of the 3 things that I've learned. If you can hire that, I can train you on technology, on proper outreach, on even things like empathy. Like those can all be developed, but if you don't have these 3 things, it's like.
So during the recruiting process, then, like, how do you identify that? Because you and I both know if you ask anybody, are they coachable? 100% of the time, they're going to tell you yes.
I'm incredibly coachable.
Yes, very coachable, right? So it's like, how do you identify? The same goes true for all of those, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yes, I'm gritty. Oh yes, I have integrity. Like, I hold that to a high standard. How do you actually identify those with the candidates as you're going through a recruiting process, not just in sales?
I'll send you a list. Like you can share it with the audience too. Like I'm always happy to share those things. Of like, there's like a dozen questions I kind of cycle through with each of those attributes to make sure. Coachability, for example, is like, tell me about a time you made a really big mistake. If people are honest about it, you'll hear about a genuine error they've made.
Yeah.
If they're not honest about it, I'm kind of like, okay, so you're not willing to admit you made a mistake, or right? Another good question I like to ask with coachability is, tell me about a time that you disagreed with your manager, thought you were right. How did you handle that?
Yes.
Oftentimes, if they're open about it, then you can dig in and be like, okay, so what did you learn? Were you right? Were you wrong?
Yes.
How did you adjust to that? How did that make you change moving forward?
Yes.
Right? So you're never asking, are you honest? Are you coachable?
It's not a yes or no question. Right. It's an open-ended, hey, tell me a time.
It's open-ended, and you're asking about experiences. You're not necessarily using the same words. Integrity is a tougher one, where it's tougher to gauge from questions. I do have a few good questions that I like, and I'll send those over to you. But I do like to use, there's a group I've partnered with called Canny.
Okay.
Kanny. They do character-based assessments. So you go in, you do a self-assessment. You can choose to send it to like any references of your choice to also fill it out, and it's a really quick, like on a scale of 1 to 10, where would I rank your integrity? Where would you rank your own? So then you pick 2 references to do it, and then you open it. You can opt in to open it to anyone from your previous work environments, and it's double blind. So Canny doesn't know who they're reaching out to. You never find out who filled it out, but then peers who've worked with you, managers, are able to rate you as well. And so it gives you a pretty good idea of where people are coming in at, and it also tells you if someone's not willing to open it up to strangers from their network, then that's also a sign that maybe there's something on.
That's interesting.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is.
So I also use that tool, and I like that.
Yeah.
But I'll send you over to the questions.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah.
And then what about grit? Like maybe that one's a little bit easier, but like, do you have any good questions that come to mind
No, I
of like,
do.
yes,
Yeah.
please.
So one of my favorite things to do is I'm looking for examples of grit, not just in your personal life, right? Because
Okay.
you and I have discussed this.
Yeah.
Who you are outside of work is the same person who you are on the inside, right?
Yes.
And so I want to see examples of grit and resilience throughout your whole life. So sometimes I like to say, hey, walk me through one of the hardest things in your childhood that you overcame.
Wow.
I get deep. And I
Yeah.
preface too, like,
Yeah.
hey, you don't have to tell me anything too personal or anything, but tell me about something that was like very difficult that you overcame.
Interesting. Yeah.
And people will tell you these crazy stories where you're like, oh my gosh. You know, like one guy I recently hired, car salesman, actually,
Okay.
and he immigrated from Dominican Republic when he was 12 with his single mom. They moved to the Bronx. He grew up working every single day, trying to make money for him and his mom. Ended up finding a way to get to college, he did door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
You know, he's always just been this scrappy kid.
Yeah.
Needed polish, right? He'd never been in an environment like where he would have developed the polish you need for somewhere like tech sales. But I saw that, and just hearing his story, like what he did to get through that, I'm like, dude, you're going to kill it, right? So he got hired as an SDR.
Yes.
And first month hit his full quota, even though he was on ramp, right? Like he crushed his quota. He's going to kill it.
Yes.
And so like if you can dig into some of those personal life experiences, see real examples,
and know that it's like, hey, somebody, the way that they are in their personal life is going to be very, it's going to pass straight over to how they're going to act in the work life. And so like, that's phenomenal.
Another good one is tell me what you're most proud of, like a personal goal in your life that you've accomplished. What are you most proud of that, I wouldn't necessarily see on your resume?
Yeah.
And people pull out these things where you're like,
okay,
yes,
I see a little bit of grit in
I
that.
see that.
Yeah.
Or if they can't pull
That's
out anything, they're like, I don't really have any personal life accomplishments. I'm proud of at least like the numbers I hit in my last sales role. I'm like, that's cool, but it's not demonstrating for me the same.
Like I worked for something. I dug deep to accomplish.
Right.
That's really interesting. Yeah, because as you're asking those questions, I'm thinking internally, and I'm like, yeah, that's like the way I would answer those questions is how I would hope to receive an answer from somebody else of like digging deep in certain moments. Because the things I'm proud of are like there's certain moments when I was like, hey, I worked really hard at something. Like it wasn't just like never was given to me, never handed to me. Like those are really, really meaningful, valuable moments. So that's cool. Thanks, Dan, for sharing that. So to fast forward, then you hire a candidate. I know character is really important. How do you help them develop character? Or, let me rephrase that. Because you and I, before this, we were talking about how high empathy, high standard. Mm-hmm. And that like, we need to develop people. That's why this X Factor podcast even exists, is because it was this idea of, hey, how do we help the employees of Lease End develop as individuals, like outside of work, that they can develop as an individual, because we believe it will help them inside of the work environment. So like when you do hire somebody, they meet those characteristics. Like, what are you doing from that point forward to continue to help them develop? What are some of those things you found successful?
Sorry, can I just plug in a shout out for y'all for doing this? Like, for anyone listening, you should probably apply to a role here. This is my first time here, but I work with dozens and dozens of different sales orgs, tons of different clients across the country, and it is rare to find a group that believes that has this core belief that who you are as a human being, if we can help you become a better human being, you will also be a better employee. But like investing in that core belief is number one. Yeah. Leaders have to believe that in order to drive any sort of cultural impact or long-term development and change in their people. Is they have to truly believe that and push for it. Number two after that is, I think accountability is massive. It's being able to say, I recognize this potential in you, but I also know you could do better. Yeah. And that's coming from a place of love and understanding and belief in them as a human being. And that has to be communicated. If it's simply just, you need to perform better, that's one thing. And you should drive that level of accountability as well. But it comes from another place when you say, like, Trevor, I know you can do better. What's going on? Yeah. Why aren't you hitting these numbers, man? Is there something else going on in your life? Or where are you struggling? Like, let me in. Let me help you. Yes. And when you can do that and you're leading from a place of empathy, people do change. They do open up, right? And I think that you have to believe that that's going to make a big enough difference in their personal life and let the professional life follow, right?
Did you ever have a leader that was this way with you?
Oh, yes. No,
like,
I've been
Can you tell us
really
about that? Because like this type of leadership, I feel like is incredibly difficult.
Oh, it's rare.
It's so much easier to be like whip from the back, not carrot from the front. And it's so much easier to just be like, nope, like go. I'm going to demand metrics. And that's as simple as that. Like I give you, money, you give me your work, let's go. It's so much more difficult, more rewarding and more impactful than what you're talking about here. Can you tell us about a leader who you had who led you in this way and what impact that had on you?
Which this is what's crazy is the data doesn't even show, like the data doesn't validate that if you lead from behind and only care about metrics, that's going to drive success. That the data continues to show that is not good for employee retention, for employee morale, for developing future leaders, for long-term sustainability. Like the best companies in the world have very strong leadership structures, foundations that push employees to develop and stay longer than 2 years, right? Like the data doesn't even show that, but I think we lean towards this other path because it's easier, like you said.
Yeah.
I think of a couple different leaders when you ask about that. One was Mark Booth. He's the CMO at Domo now.
Okay.
He was my first manager when I was an intern, brand new intern at Adobe. And I remember on one of my first days, he goes, I was stressed about something, like maybe a deadline or my own performance, like I wasn't doing enough as, I'm like so competitive with myself. Yeah. I'm like psychotic.
Yes.
And he was like, Xan, let me just remind you, we are not curing cancer here. We are selling software. And I was just like, oh, right. Perspective. Like there are other things that matter a lot more than this and what we're doing here. And like my own life matters, there's all these things that kind of, I needed that permission maybe to have a reality check, to like recognize the scale of things.
This isn't the only thing that's important in life right now. Like,
right. Yeah. Right. And like my performance as an individual at work matters. It really matters. And I want to be the best I can be in everything I do. Yeah. But ultimately, that's not who I am. That's not like my value isn't derived from my performance. Yeah. My value is derived from things that you can't impact, actually. Yeah. And so anyway, having like a better understanding of self, and that's how I've led all of my teams has been, I use that phrase all the time. Like, we're not curing cancer, my guy.
Curing cancer.
We're not. And so like, if you need to go take care of your sick mom, go take care of your sick mom. Yeah. And I'm gonna trust you to do that and trust you to get your job done at the same time. And if you need some help, let me step in. Because that's the stuff that matters. And that's why I had multiple people on my team get bigger and better offers, one by $80,000. He got $80,000, half of that in base, half of that in OTE. And he turned it down to stay on the team. And I'm not saying that's just because of me, but I do think that like my own retention of my team, which was 100%, is because that's how I led and I invested in people as humans, 100% humans, not just like this pie slice of their life, You know
what's interesting? So as you're talking, I'm thinking through, I was taught a lesson from an early manager of mine and about how in life there's more forms of compensation than just money. And I think about this for those at least that are here, because you're a part of this. This is what's so cool is like money is a form of compensation. But culture is a form of compensation, right? Personal development is a form of compensation. Experiences are a form of compensation. Like there are things outside of just money that are forms of compensation that like we got to fill the bank account full of, right?
Absolutely.
Like it can't just be money. And so it's like, that's what I love about the culture here at Lee's End is that like you have individuals who are adding fuel to that fire every single day. Like it has nothing to do with myself or others. It's just literally they're just adding fuel every single day to that fire, which puts them in a situation and their teammates in a position where it's like they're getting that bank account filled with other areas than just money, so that it's like, yeah, if money comes, like I had an old saying that was, if they come for money, they're going to leave for money.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to come for something different. And like, we'll
Absolutely.
make it financially make sense. But like,
Sure.
no, like
I'm not going to not reward you with money, but
100%. But it's
Right.
like, there's other things that matter most. And the most effective teams, in my experience, have been those that live by that.
well, and that's what drives you. You know, I remember I led my team kind of counterculture to how other things were done at the company. And part of what I asked of my team, I was like, look, I'm doing things differently and you know that. I'm going to treat you certain ways. I'm going to have certain policies for you that are a little different. Yeah. In exchange, I need you to overperform.
Yes.
I need you to. Otherwise, we can't do this, right? I can't run the team differently. So we were always the highest performing team, always. And I don't even necessarily think that's because we were the best sellers. Like,
yeah,
we just worked for it because there were certain things that were different. And so that's why on, you know, the day after Christmas, I could call one of my reps and I'm like, I need you to close this deal. I need you to close this deal before the end of the month so that we can 1.5 times our quota. And I don't ask you for things like this, but I need you to do it. And he was like, done. Consider it done.
so
and he did.
You got into an agreement with them that was just simply, hey, I'm going to ask more out of you because
Yeah.
like, we're going to lead this in a different way. And I need your buy-in.
Yep. And I need you to prove it. Because people won't ask questions if we're proving it. But you got to prove it for me.
Xan,
You know?
you're a great leader.
Oh, well, no, I don't know. But thank you.
That is really, really cool.
It was fun. It made it so fun. And you know, Gallup also, so many different companies and
Yes.
you know, HBS and Gallup, right, have all said, you join a company, you quit a leader every time. People might join Leasend for the compensation, let's say, for whatever they logically determine is why they want to be here, for the growth opportunity, whatever. But you ultimately quit a boss. That's why people leave. They're not quitting the company. They're quitting a boss. And so what kind of environment you provide is going to be the make or break. Those are all the different things that you deposit into the bank account other than their comp.
So what advice are you giving to a leader when they find this challenge between high empathy, high standard of like, because I believe that it oftentimes is taken as soft, you know, that it's like, hey, if I'm high empathy, I have to be a soft leader.
Which kills me.
Yeah. So, okay, you're obviously passionate about this.
You know, I am.
Okay.
And people think, they hear the words love and empathy and they're like, oh, you're a soft leader. And oh, also it's because you're a woman. Like, and I'm like, no. No, it's because I'm not an idiot. I know how to motivate people.
Yes.
And it's through things like this. This is what makes a difference. And so I got called soft, I remember, in an interview. It was actually that $500K offer.
No way.
He was like, the CEO was like, you just might be a little too soft for our team. And I'm like, what makes you say that? And all of it came from the fact that I used words like love and empathy. And I'm like, love is not soft.
No.
Love is understanding. Love is kind. But love is also clear. And love is firm. Like if one of your kids is, let's say, they're not doing well in school. If you love them, you're going to push them. You're not going to make them do it alone.
You're not going to enable them to just keep doing you know, poor results.
No, if you love them, you're going to parent them.
Yeah.
Right? Which is going to be, hey, we expect A's in this family. What's going on?
Yeah.
How do I help you get there? Do you need a tutor? Do you need additional time at school? Do you like whatever it is? I'm going to give you the resources to do it. But I know you can do this. So let's push you there. I'm on your team. I'm doing it with you.
Yeah.
Right? So like love isn't soft. It's the same way that, you know, a good marriage has a lot of feedback back and forth. My dad always says marriage is like one eternal act of forgiveness, which is true.
Yes.
Good thing my husband's so forgiving. But our marriage is so strong because we give each other feedback. I hold him accountable and he does the same for me. And that's how my teams were. It was like, yes, you know, let's say you have a kid that's sick and so you're at home and I'm giving you the day off, whatever, you know, like I'm totally cool and understanding with all that because I love you and I know what's important to you, right? So I'm going to do that. At the same time, I still expect you to hit your number. And if you can't, for whatever reason, because something's going on in your life, then you need to have a discussion with me about it in advance, and I'll find another way to make up for that gap with you, right? But like, we're not holding back on accountability. That's not love.
That's really cool.
Weakness, in my opinion.
So the shift of the belief is that if I truly love this individual as leaders, which we should love those on our team, if we love those people on our team, then we hold them to like the potential and the standard and like, because we're there to help them through it. It's not just a demanding, it's coming from this place of, no, like if I was in your shoes, I would want somebody to hold me to a high standard too.
Right. Please do, actually.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be a lesser version of me. I want to be my best me. I want to be the best Xan I can be. So I had one manager who was so hard. She was so hard on me. And I still to this day am so grateful for her because she held me to a level of accountability I'd never been held to before. She would call me. This was when I was writing for the CEO at Adobe, which again, $40 billion company. I have no reason to be doing this at like 26 or 27, right? But everything I wrote was going to the CEO's desk, and it was all about sales strategy. So if I am not kidding you, she would pick up the phone if I missed a comma.
Jeez.
Every time.
Yeah.
If I spelled out, if I used an acronym instead of spelling it out, phone call. If I wanted to die. I wanted to die.
Yeah, you're like, this is not.
Oh yeah, it was awful.
If only you had ChatGPT back then.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, I would have been so much better. But she held me to a level of accountability that forced me to become a good writer. And I really think that's part of why I've been successful today. It's because I was pushed to this limit that I didn't know I could reach before.
That's awesome. So Xan, like speaking directly to the leaders, because like I believe Lease End is where we are today because we have incredible like team members. Like our teams are, it was the thing that attracted me to this company is I walk through these doors and I joke that they pump something through the AC system. Cause like the second you walk through, you're like, all right, I'm a Lease End believer. Like, let's go.
I felt it. I walked in and I'm like, I need some swag or something. I want to be in this.
We love it. We love it.
Yeah.
And it's because we've had great team members and great leaders on this team. So like, I'm curious from your perspective of like, what actionable advice can you give to a leader who maybe struggles with that feeling of like, if I'm high empathy, then I have also a hard time being high standard. Is there any actionable things that you're like, hey, like just tweak this just a little bit or, you know, do something that like can push them kind of out of their comfort zone a little bit to start to impact their team and help their team members more?
That's such a good question. What do you guys do here? How are you training your managers to be that way? Why do they believe that that's the right thing?
Yeah, that's a good question. High empathy, high standard is a focus. I showed you that graph that I go through, and that's a big one. Our CEO on our last X Factor podcast, he talked about this. He's the visionary. He's the one at the front, at the helm of this ship, right? And he goes, if I could plant one belief into the mind of every single leader in this company, it's develop people, care about people. The business is going to be successful. We know that. We believe that. Like it's going to be successful. But the people are so important. And so that's the stuff. Like things like this, we want to focus on the individual and continue to preach that from the front, so that leadership understands, hey, we care that much about people. Metrics will follow. They will be there, and we care about metrics as well. But develop people. Develop the individuals, create that good culture.
How do you measure that? How do you measure if you're developing your people or not?
It's a great question. The focus for us is, and this is, I'm not saying this is correct, this is what we do, is on rep progression. So we literally have, like I've got a report that literally looks at on short-term and long-term growth for a rep. And we find that those that are improving, even if it's a low performer, but they're improving a little over time. Sure. They are happier than the high performer who's not improving.
Or even just sitting stagnant.
So that would be one that I would say low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. What resources do you have to develop your people? Like when they say that, do you offer trainings? Are you offering?
Yeah, we use a daily training tool called Typhoon.
Okay.
Huge fan of this.
Yeah.
It's micro learning. So every morning they watch a 1 to 3 minute video, and it could be anything about product, about personal development, anything from like, you know, sales strategy, morning routine. Like last month we did one, we challenged our reps to do something I call the 3 lists that I'd learned from a mentor, Casey Baugh. And it was these 3 lists every single morning I'll write down. And so we challenged our reps to do that. They learned it from Typhoon, and then they go in and every day now they're practicing it. And so Typhoon is something on a daily trickle.
Dude, I want access to
they
that.
get that. Yeah, we can get
I want to see the Lease End.
Done.
system. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really
it's
cool.
not like, I'm sure plenty of people watching are like, Trevor, I'm sick of hearing your voice and seeing your face. Cause like that's who's on it. But like that the daily trickle, that micro learning is something that we do.
So what's so interesting is like at a company like this, then asking what can a leader do to invest in this more is like such an easy, it's easy for them because you're supporting it, you are validating it, you're measuring it. You're proving that like from the top, our CEO cares about this. And so whatever efforts you make here, however small, even if you make mistakes, like that's going to be appreciated. What's a lot harder is when you're at an environment where leadership doesn't reward that. They're not attempting to enable it. That's not the focus. The focus is metrics. The focus is performance, right? So for a leader there at a place like that, my advice is to start with your own team. To say, okay, one, I'm going to educate myself on how to do this, which there's so many books, there's so many, DM me, not that I'm an all-knowing source, but I do feel like my dad is an all-knowing source. I could send you to him.
I got resources.
Yeah. There's so many tools today and so much information and knowledge that you can invest in. Honestly, the biggest thing for me was having a conversation with my team one-on-one. I took them off-site. I said, hey, I'm taking my whole team off-site today. We're going to do some sales training, whatever. Nobody asked questions. So I took them to a space, fed them lunch, and was just like, hey, guys, this is how I want our team to run. I know I'm new. I know I'm younger than some of you. I know I haven't been at this company for years like a lot of you have. But this is how I intend to run the team. I want to talk through it. Let's discuss it. You know, what problems do you see with that? What questions do you have? What are the biggest issues you have with our company right now? Tell me about your biggest frustrations. What do you feel like are the biggest gaps in yourself, your own learning, your own development? Like what's in your way to be a top performer right now? And I need you to be honest, right? So it was like being vulnerable myself. It was having this conversation with my team in a safe enough environment where I'd been there just long enough, I think, to have earned their trust.
Yeah.
And long enough to be like, hey, this isn't like a bash session on the company or anything. This is just like, if I can run the team however I want to, what do you need to be successful? How do I help you hit your number?
Yeah.
Right? And that's their motivation. They want to hit their number. Everyone there does. And so I know that was it was a small thing, but it kind of put us on this page of this is the expectation for our team. What it means to be on Xan's team is XYZ. Yeah. We're high performers. We lead with empathy. We are accountable, whatever it is, right? Like we picked the things that this is what it means and we're not going to back down on that, which meant later when I was giving tough feedback saying like, hey, dude, you didn't do your part. Yeah. That's not the identity of our team. Talk to me about that. Like they're on the spot. They agreed to this, right? Like they built this with me and they agreed to these terms, right? It's
so the business coach that I go to, he's actually the same one that our CEO goes to. And the first session he almost always talks about this concept of agreements and just how important. And as you've talked through a few stories, it's so clear that you live this, whether you know it or not. It's like, this is so cool. Like, because you see it firsthand that it's these agreements. And as leaders, it's like, man, it's so impactful. It doesn't help to just sit down with your team and say, I expect X, Y, and Z, whether you like it or not. And like, let's go. Right. It's getting into that agreement of, hey, here's the vision of what I have. Yeah. And this, like, it's going to take a lot of hard work. This is the identity of what we have as a team. This is our standard as a team. And like, do I have your agreement that like we go and pursue that? And in turn, like you live up to it and I hold you accountable to it and we win together and we helped each other together. Like that agreement is so, so, so important.
Well, and it really sets the foundation for a relationship, especially if they can have a part in building it. Yeah. If they feel like they were a part of coming up with the standards, with the agreement, I mean, they have to be in at that point, right? That's cool. They're like, that's my mark right there. My DNA is in this. So I got to be all in, right?
That's awesome. Okay, Xan, I got one more pivot, and then this has been so good. But we had somebody in the company that had this question, and it was really interesting. So we had read one of your the magazine articles that you had been featured in, and it talked about this, at Adobe, how you ate lunch with somebody new every single day. Okay, was it 6 years or something like that? It was like,
I was there for 6 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Goal was every week eat with someone new.
Okay, every single week eat with somebody new, and so this individual reached out and she's like, "This is really cool. I'm just curious, like in an environment where maybe your colleagues aren't people that you would mesh with outside of work, or that like, aren't necessarily the people that you would, not the people outside of like this work environment that you would connect with. What advice do you have for somebody like that to be a team player and to reach out and to find that fulfillment in doing something similar?
I was reaching out to people who had nothing to do with my career, nothing to do with my future necessarily. I just wanted to reach out to great people who I thought were excellent for different reasons. Even just people who were in fields I knew nothing about, right? Like if I was in marketing at the time, and then sales, right? But I didn't know anything about engineering. I didn't know anything about PR, about legal. Like I just knew these are people who other leaders say are good people to meet, and it's kind of nice being in a larger company. So how many employees is Lisanne?
We're about just under 300.
Great. So that's a large enough group where you can meet someone new, certainly every week.
Once a week. With the growth, yes. There's definitely a new person starting once a week. And so,
But you can also be reaching out to people you see online and saying, hey, I love your content. I really like what you're doing here. Would you mind if I sent you a coffee and can pick your brain for 15 minutes on XYZ, right?
Yeah.
Like most people, when I reach out and ask for mentorship or today, you know what? This happened today. I cold called someone who is like an expert recruiter. He was like top 6 recruiters in the US for 6 years or something, right? And all he does is sales. Like he's exactly who I would want. His numbers on his profile, I cold called him today. It was like, Rich, my name is Xan. I run a small recruiting agency, all SaaS sales. I want you to come work with me instead of your current company.
Yes.
And he bust out laughing, right? He's like, oh my gosh, I love this. He's like, I love this so much. He's like, it's probably impossible to get me over there, but talk to me, And he talked with me for 25 minutes.
Awesome.
25 minutes we were on the phone, and I just picked his brain with different questions. I'm like, okay, if you started today, how would you do it differently?
Yeah.
And like now he's in my phone and I could text him.
Yes.
Like it's not, people are cool. People are really nice. And it doesn't mean you're always going to get yeses. I got a lot of no's, but
1000%.
You don't get what you don't ask for.
Yeah.
So anyway, whether that's internally or externally, I think it's always worth it. I'm not here to make a friend of like someone I'd hang out with necessarily. And that's not who I'm looking to hire either for my own team internally or for clients. Like I'm looking for people who are excellent and who are willing to tell me about their life and share. I want to learn. That's the goal. The goal isn't necessarily to make friends. The goal is to learn and acknowledging that like, wow, I am never the smartest person in the room ever.
Yeah. And
that's the biggest blessing. Like
that's cool.
I love that I'm in that position because it means I have so much I can learn from so many different people, even if it has no like direct impact on my career today. I really think that that's what made me promote quickly, opened doors for me that wouldn't have opened for other people necessarily, is just because I was asking.
Goes back to that coachability you talked about. There's just that hunger to learn. It's like, it doesn't matter what field you're in, what employee, role that you have. If we're students and we're hungry to learn and have that, like, I want to get to know people who aren't in the same career path as me, or that may not have any like, immediate benefit to me and my career path. Like that's totally okay. It's a relationship, and it's like, let me go learn. Let me get out there and like be coachable and learn. Yeah. And naturally it ends up feeding me better than I ever could have.
Absolutely. And that's like why we read books. It's why we like, I want to keep developing. Like you said, be the best me. Yeah. Whenever I can. And I know that we're wrapping up here, which I never want this conversation to end actually.
Yeah, you're good.
But the one thing that keeps coming to mind that I wanted to share is the data that indicates, this is kind of back to an earlier point.
Dive into it.
Okay. Morale is a leading indicator.
Okay.
Performance is a lagging indicator. If morale is low, it's going to impact performance, but you're not going to see it until it's too late.
Wow.
So if you're a leader and you think, I don't know how important the morale is, like that doesn't really matter to me, what matters is performance, you're missing the point. You're missing the plot. The whole point is you're not going to see that performance is low or the opportunity cost. Maybe performance is even high, but how much higher could it be if you are investing in a leading indicator, which is morale. So Pfizer Pharmaceuticals,
Yes.
what, $100 billion company?
The
200
massive,
billion? Yeah.
massive.
They require their managers to spend a morale budget every quarter. They're punished if they don't spend their morale budget. And it's because they know the data, which shows morale is important. This is going to impact our performance. If not today, a quarter from now, 2 quarters from now, a year from now, we're going to be suffering if we're not investing in it today. So smart companies who actually look at the data,
Yes.
1, and 2, invest in their people, recognize this is what the data shows us. Again, this is not soft. There is so much proof around this.
Yes.
That investing in your people truly does lead to higher performance.
Because the indicators, so performance indicators is just a reactive approach, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Performance indicators are lagging.
So how do you measure the morale?
Oh, such a good question.
'Cause,
I actually don't have the answer to that.
It's like one of those things where it's like that's you can it's so on our floor out here. You walk on our floor and everybody's like, dude, it feels so good.
That's
Energy's
the thing.
great.
I'm like, vibes.
So it's like, is that what it is?
Vibes is how you know.
If
how
that's
you
what
measure.
it is, fantastic.
Yeah.
Like that's one that that has been a question so heavy on my mind recently, is just figuring out how to, because the leading indicators,
Sure.
you just confirmed something that's been heavy on my mind of like, hey, these leading indicators, it's not performance. Leading indicators are around the people, but how to measure that is the
Yeah, and I don't have an answer for this, and I'm sure like some tech company's going to comment and be like, we do this.
Yeah, no,
we
yeah,
measure this.
great.
But I'm thinking like what I would do today to measure morale would probably be like a consistent survey, like, and having conversations one-on-one with reps of like, hey, I'm going to send you this survey. You're going to feel like it's stupid. It's anonymized.
Yeah.
I want you to fill it out really honestly. And the reason for that is like, I am trying to get a solid gauge on how morale is today.
Yeah.
Please answer it really transparently. I want you to tell me what's going well, what's going poorly, where things could be better, how you feel. I'm sure like chat could help us
Yes.
develop like the right questions for this. But I'm thinking if I can get honest feedback regularly and keep track of that, maybe there's a way. I think it's all going to be qualitative for the most part.
Yes.
And so how do we measure that? How do we capture it? I don't know. Shane's a marketing guy.
I'm going to be honest. I think that it has everything to do with the leader having that high empathy, high standard, and then that feeling. Like that's what it's got to have a combination of the two, where it's like, if you're a leader who leads with high empathy, high standard, then you're not going to fall into that trap of a culture where it's just fun for no reason, no productivity, just fun. You allow that balance to be there. And then it's like, yeah, you lead with the people in mind.
Sure.
That to me would, yeah.
Well, and can we compare survey responses of different individual
time.
frontline managers of their team's morale with performance, comparing to like pipeline and revenue closed
Yes.
for each team, for each manager. And then you can see like which of our managers are struggling with this and how does that impact performance 6 weeks down the road.
That's really cool.
Right? Like, that would be really interesting. And again, I'm sure some tech company does this, but
they're gonna have it. They'll have it out there.
this is just spitting.
This is good.
You and I, maybe we need to start it. I don't know.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out. That's the golden nugget. No, Xan, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Genuinely, thank you so much for coming on, taking the time. And I'm sure anybody who's watching this has gotten so much out of this. I am curious to see those questions you mentioned about earlier.
Yeah,
I would love to get those out there. And anybody that is looking to get in contact with you, what's the easiest way for them to reach out?
LinkedIn. I would say find me on LinkedIn. Cool. It's the bane of my existence. I don't like doing it, but I'm on there. Got to pay the bills. Or you can email me, Xan at confettirecruiting.com. I'm easy to find. But yeah, I'd love to. Well, if there's anything I can do, I'm happy to help.
From the entire Xan family, we're just grateful for you taking the time to come and do this. And yeah, we appreciate it.